Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blockchain Versus, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of blockchain and all its potential to disrupt the world as we know it. I am Christina Brujan, and I'm flying solo today. My co-host Jeremy Bourne was not able to join me, but I am joined today by Mr. Brandon Cooper from Aphid. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to dig into this with you. This is like a dream come true for me. Aphid is an AI-powered bot that clones yourself as a personal assistant, all powered by blockchain. Holy moly. Tell me a bit about that, Brandon.
Yes, certainly. We've created a financial ecosystem for the everyday person to basically become what we call a controller of their clone. So basically they turn themselves into a digitized person, and this bot becomes what we see as like almost like being omnipresent. It works in different areas of the internet. So it's going to be doing e-commerce, checkout where it makes commission. It's going to be getting paid through advertisement, also through various partners that we call drivers, where they make money from crypto trading, and you make money while you sleep. So almost think of it as almost looking at like you having your own employee, basically. The problem is most people don't, they're at work all the time. You're either trading time for money or you're at home all day and not making money. And we finally created something that's going to allow people to get their time back and still make money.
I love it. So it's kind of like having a multitasker of yourself. If I wasn't doing this, I would be doing this. And Aphid can do that for you?
That's correct.
That's amazing. What kind of things can you do? I mean, I heard you mention trading. You know, I get excited about that for CoinGenius. Tell me some of the things that this bot can do. I need like 10 personal assistants who can answer emails, be marketing assistants out on LinkedIn, and just be me in a digital world that I don't have time to be. Can I do that?
Yes, absolutely. So depending on the plan that you have, if you have the first tier of the plan, it will basically work for Aphid. So it's going to be put into our ecosystem, our database, pretty much, well, not our database, but just in the database where when people need to, let's say they go buy an iPad, if the Christina bot pops up, it'll say, hey, welcome to the site. How can I help you? If that person buys that iPad, you get a commission from it just because you were the person that was selected right there, like a sales rep. You don't have to do anything but have a subscription. It's really that simple. And I mentioned crypto trading, so we don't create that part. That's basically, for instance, CoinGenius being one of our partners, we say, okay, you're what's considered a driver. So we would connect the API, and then they can track the data of what they're doing at CoinGenius and say, okay, I made this much money on CoinGenius. So I've made $28 today, $28 this hour off of CoinGenius. I've made $35 off this particular site. I've made $35 from this particular area.
So it really
So these are what we call drivers.
So it really is like more affiliate and like purchase funnels then, is that correct?
Correct. So we've created these different funnels because it's going to allow you to have more volume per hour. And that affiliate marketing is, people are already familiar with it, but the premise of what we're doing to escape the 9 to 5, we have to have volume in order to make that money to replace that income.
Absolutely. And you know, we're all about passive income strategies. So I do feel like the LinkedIn and digital marketing example that I used, which is my personal pain point and why I got so excited about talking with you. I feel like that falls squarely in affiliates. I mean, that's still digital marketing, and I think that that's still very applicable. Before I get too much into the weeds of the use case, let's back it up to the 10,000 foot view. Let's talk a little bit about your background, how you got into blockchain, and how blockchain plays a very critical role in your strategy with Aphid.
Yeah, I was introduced to it around the time of, little after, of course, after the recession, when Bitcoin at first emerged, and I didn't know how to invest in it. I was looking at like E-Trade and all these different things, and I didn't see it, so I just walked away pretty much. And fast forward to 2017, that's when I started learning how to, how blockchain works. and then I invested in Ethereum and some other digital assets as well. And that's how I got my feet wet. And ever since then, I've really just been delving into the technology and building out from there. As far as my general background, from Detroit, Michigan, went to Michigan State University. It wasn't for me, left after 3 years, got into some home-based business. So that's how I got into entrepreneurship, but I'm self-taught technology. Some call me guru or whatever you want to call it, but I'm just a technology enthusiast. I worked for Apple for over 6 years as a senior technology advisor. So I got a lot of experience for working for that company as well. But I was very tired working for Apple. The volume was getting so high, and it allowed me to say, there has to be something out there to, something I can do. I wish I could just clone myself and and get away from the job. I wish I could just clone myself and go to the beach and make money. And I started on the project along with the team.
Tell me a little bit about the early days. I mean, to take something from an idea, I have had that idea. I think many of us have had that idea. Man, I wish I could clone myself. Man, I wish someone else would get up and make breakfast because I want to sleep in, right? I mean, I think that's the power of AI, right? That's the power of leveraging this technology. And, like I think Olaf said it in Frozen 2, like technology will be our empowerment and our downfall or something.
Right.
So, but in the meantime, we can leverage it. And, AI is not scary Skynet stuff. AI is basically letting computers do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So talk to me about the early days. How do you take that from a concept to, I mean, you're self-taught. That is a lot of technology to learn that landscape, trying to be self-taught. AI is no joke. How do you get that off the ground?
To be completely honest with you, I'm very heavy into meditation, and I look at it as meditation is downloading information, almost updating my software, so to speak. So these ideas and things have just come to me. It's like a gift. It's really just been gifted down. You can call them aliens, you can say God, you can say a higher power, or whatever it is that you believe in.
The
That's
power
where the
of the
information
seed.
Yeah, because the crazy thing about, I'll tell you how amazing or divine order happens is uh, we had a previous business model that didn't encompass this premise, because the company existed. We never went live, but we had a different concept of the company, and we made a pivot actually about a year or so ago, working on to switch it over to AI. Um, but the aphid, the insect itself, can clone itself, right? The original premise of the company when it was established was to basically, piracy was really, really heavy. This was a long time ago, right? This is a project that was backburnered a long time ago. But anyway, long story short, we would take music songs, films, and we would put Easter egg, piracy protection integrations into them, and then we would flood the internet so people would get tired of seeing them, and they would just say, oh, I'm just going to go to iTunes and buy it, right? That was the original premise of the company, and that's why the name Aphid at the time, it was called Aphid Byte at that time. And that's why putting all of those different bugs out there had to do with the cloning mechanism. But if you fast forward to where we are now, the fact that our business model allows a person to clone themselves the same way that an aphid does, there's no way I could have foresaw that.
That's amazing. So the blockchain's a huge piece of that. You guys went with Ethereum. I'm sure it wasn't an easy thing to select to pick a blockchain for your use case. How do you even assess those things?
Really, stability was the main reason for it, even though we're sacrificing some speed. Because you have XRP Ledger and I think Stellar, where everything goes through within a second to 3 seconds, right, for transactions and such. But Ethereum is just stability. We can build that ecosystem out, and when the time permits, we'll eventually go to our own mainnet. But that really just came behind it, and I believe in the people the development teams that are behind these projects, like Vitalik is one that I trust his wit and the enhancements. I know we've been waiting a while for them to come out with them to do the Casper and everything, but I believe in Vitalik and what he'll be able to do in the meantime.
Yeah, I think it really makes a difference when there is a face behind the project, right? When there's a 1-800 number you can dial, or a person who's out there, saying, this is what we do and we claim this data. We stand behind this. This is what we're going to represent. Speaking of which, who are the people behind Aphid? What's your plan to roll out and get the word out in your speaking circuit in 2020? Tell me a little bit about the humans behind this project.
Certainly. We have Sean Ross. He is our CTO of the company. And then he manages a technology team as well. Then we have so many different parts. I mean, we have all the C-suite pretty much. We have a chief growth officer, Alexandra Stone. She's awesome, based out of here in Los Angeles. So she'll be unraveling our marketing campaign, which is called Free Society. Free Society is basically our mantra for people out there that want to, they're tired of the 9 to 5. They just want to live free. They just want to do what they want to do and focus more time on their craft, or it might be their craft, or it may be their family, or it could be a combination of both, right? So she's behind that as well. We have our PR manager, Gail Henderson, business executives. We have some interns. We're doing pretty well, and everything has been bootstrapped to this point. So I'm really, really proud about that. And as far as getting the word out there, we do have some television appearances that are coming up just due to the contracts, but they're big networks. That's all I can say. Where we have, I'll be on television. It's estimated to be 12 times or 12 to 18 times. Just talking about different things that we have going on with Aphid. And then we also have ink coming up as well. So that'll be coming out within about a month or so. And just unraveling everything through the people, getting into the everyday person, into the street, the people that are tired of working.
I love it. I also really respect the magnitude of bootstrapping something like this. A lot of our audience is, entrepreneurial, and to take on something like this and get other people motivated for it, to get them to take hours out of their day to believe in your vision and dedicate their time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears and time away from their family, is a very big deal. I mean, you have to be a heck of a leader with a heck of an idea to be able to motivate people like that. So well done to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's very, very difficult, but I mean, you can make excuses or you can make moves.
There you go. And the way I look at it is, how do you eat a bear? One bite at a time, right? You just got to keep chipping away at stuff. And you're the only person who will do it, right? No one's going to care like Brandon Cooper is going to care about Aphid.
Correct.
Well, awesome.
That is fact.
So the outcome of your blockchain revelation was Aphid, but you have a lot of opinions about just everything that blockchain can disrupt, and this change to the global economic engine, and people having control over their finances, people even understanding that they don't have their control over their finances right now. Those are very complex topics. How do you unravel that for the newbies? I know you're a big fan of educating and crypto 101 type of approaches there.
Yeah, I believe that the industries that I think or people not having control, they don't even know. I'm glad you said that. I mean, even we have elections coming up with the voting, right? Blockchain will allow people to see things on a public ledger. So imagine, for those listening, if you're, we had the Trump issues and everything, or even Al Gore back in the day. So imagine if these votes could be, every vote that's submitted could be tracked onto where everyone can see it. There's no funny business going on in the back end. Every time something has been recorded, you can see it, right? Even the real estate industry, there are a lot of people, the percentages are high. I don't have the exact percentage, but a lot of people actually think that they own their home. They actually don't. There's some underlying paperwork that happens in the back end where they actually don't even own their home. Blockchain will help this, or even patents, right? Someone who in the United States, USPTO, it used to be first to invent. Now it's first to file. So there won't be any funny business where a person is submitting a patent, and then I might have a buddy and someone pays someone at the office and makes their patent go through and then deflect mine, or none of that stuff can happen with it being first to file. The blockchain will allow you to see the submissions with a timestamp. That's the best way that I can explain it to some of the newbies.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you touched on real estate. That is, in my opinion, I feel like blockchain evolution and mass adoption for global use cases. Obviously, it started with fintech first. If it didn't make an impact in fintech, we wouldn't even be here. You got supply chain coming right after that. And then you've got real estate. The tokenization of assets and the fractionalization of assets is something that most people are still wrapping their heads around. And to clarify, that means you can own a piece of an apartment building. You can own a piece of an apartment. You can own a piece of, there's community sharing. There's new marketplaces coming when you take assets, everything you own, including your vacuum cleaner, or carpet cleaner that you use. You probably use your vacuum cleaner more than your carpet cleaner, but you don't use it that often and other people need it. Those are assets. And when you start to think like that to your home, to your rental space, to your garage space, people have extra space in their garage, right? There's all, anyway, I get too far down the tangent, but you see what I'm saying with fractionalized assets and real estate. Being able to be this entirely new tokenized concept that opens the world for possibilities and changes the user experience of what we're going to expect in the next 10 years. I know that you have a lot of opinions about the real estate industry and how blockchain will affect it as well. But what can you tell me a little bit around real estate?
Yeah, so real estate, there's like Ryan Serhant, he's on a show, $1 Million List in New York. He was talking on Bloomberg about how they're doing the tokenization for the property, so they don't have to actually wait for the bank. They can tokenize their property and go from there. Even a point of smart contracts. I believe there's going to be a day using blockchain, and of course there is going to take some human touch at first, but imagine where the smart contract, or you have some type of data that you can pull into, like your sign in, and you see a house that you like, and then you hit, I would like to purchase this. I don't need to see it in person. I just want to buy it, like Carvana. It goes through, checks your credit score, checks off all of the boxes, and say, house is pending. I believe that's where it's going. And I know there are some legal, some legal things that happen that could, that take certain sign-offs and such. But the smart contract is the digitized lawyer to put, or digitized agent to put those things through where you can get things done with the push of a button, in my opinion. That's
all
what's
right,
going.
let's explore that, Brandon Cooper. All right, so I know people who are trying to do exactly that. They're doing it on the rental side, not the real estate sales side, but the next evolution is obviously the real estate sales side. How can Aphid help someone like that? You think about the broker community in New York that is dwindling, and the legislation that's coming. It takes a click of a button, from government to change everything these days. And the status quo doesn't work. The real estate industry is fundamentally broken. How can AI and the click of a button user experience and something like Aphid to do the heavy lifting that lawyers and used to take cycles, now we can do with a smart contract? How can Aphid help that kind of industry to expedite this adoption faster?
Yes, so with Aphid, with us having our machine learning, and then we'll also be getting into deep learning in the future. But basically, it will help you with repetitive tasks. So a lot of agents, or let's just say you repeat the same thing over and over again. Okay, we need this. Okay, we need that. Okay, we need this. We need that. You probably repeat that hundreds and hundreds of times throughout a month. What if you could ideally digitize yourself, put it into your dialogue, basically where it's a very simplistic dialogue tree. So we're going to have, there's basically a panel you're going to be able to go to, and you can manage the conversations that you would have as if it was you and predict the responses. If you don't know what you or how to integrate that, we can do it for you as well. Just depends on the plan that you choose. But let's just say someone comes to your website and they say, hey, your digitized version pops up and say, hey, welcome to the site. How can I help you today? Are you looking for a rental property? Okay, they click this button. Okay, what is your budget? Then they click this button, and the responses will come up automatically based upon what you would say or what you have repeated thousands of times in the past. So now, instead of you spending over 200 hours a month on the same thing, now you're just getting an email with everything already filtered out. And it's a lot more personable, even though it is a bot. It is a lot more, you can make it say what you want it to say. It's very different from filling out a form. A form will just give you certain information, but having a conversation changes the dynamic of your results. Actually, you'll see an increase of over 50% in your sales and your click-through rates and things like that. So it can do online scheduling. The bot can say, okay, you want to do a showing? I have 4 o'clock available for this property. And then you click the button and it'll pull up the calendar. You can add it to your calendar. And then an agent will say, okay, your time has been blocked out. I just booked you. And that real estate agent didn't have to do anything. He or she is on the beach.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Brandon. This is basically like, so in the technology world, there's, sorry, getting a phone call. In the technology world, there's this thing called Zapier, and it automates a lot of manual tasks. This is like Zapier for your life, basically. I mean, anything that you do repeatedly over and over again, this bot can help you with, right?
Yep, absolutely. So, and ours are set up to it's a hybrid business model. You can digitize yourself and have it do various tasks and make money on the B2C side. If you're an enterprise, B2B, we provide these solutions for your website. So you can add your company. So for instance, you have Jeremy and you have Christina. So now
CoinGenius, thank you. How would you apply this to CoinGenius, Brandon Cooper?
Yeah, so CoinGenius could get a B2B plan, and then you can add Jeremy and Christina into the portal, and Christina can go in and modify her dialogue. Jeremy can go into his login, click on his name, sign in, and he can modify his dialogue of how he's going to greet the customers. So when people go to coingenius.ai, they can click Christina or they can click Jeremy, whoever they want to talk to, and then the conversations will start right there on the website.
Oh man, I love that idea to go from a general CoinGenius chatbot to you can get a hold of Christina. And Jeremy and I speak very differently. Anyone who's met me knows that we have 2 very different approaches. So I think that would be some really cool like A/B testing metrics. And he and I always have like this interesting kind of a brother-sister competition anyway. He is Apple, I am Android, the war will continue. And we would just have the war be on the CoinGenius. That's awesome. I love this. Well, tell me more about Enterprise. And I really want to get into the technology stack behind it, just because I'm a nerd and I love that stuff. For the audience that doesn't know, in AI, you have to have something called an intelligence engine. And that's a really fancy way of saying you have to get the data in. It has to be stored somewhere, processed, evolved, cleansed, normalized, persisted, and then go out to a shallow version for the end user to consume. And that is hard. Okay, it's very hard to do all of that. And Brandon has created, and behind Aphid, there is this thing called the ovum. And they refer to it as a her. It's the mother bot of Aphid. And I love that it's a her. Brandon, tell me about the technology and what that allows for the enterprise consumer, because a lot of our audience is Fortune 500 trying to understand, all right, what is this stuff and how can I use it and how do I make sure I still have a job in 10 years?
Certainly. Yeah, singularity, people are afraid of singularity, and Aphid exists so this doesn't occur. Basically, instead of your job being taken over or your job lays you off, you can come over to Aphid and digitize yourself, and then that will work for you. So there's zero layoffs in this ecosystem. You'll always have something generating here. But to the first part of what you're speaking of on the enterprise, could you repeat that part? Because it's kind of two-sided.
Sure, it was a lot. I got very excited about ovum being a she,
The
the
ovum,
mother
the
bot
ovum,
of
got you.
Aphid,
There we
and
go.
I was curious how that applies to enterprise.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, the ovum is basically the mother bot of the ecosystem. The reason that the ovum exists is because when you come into the platform, most people don't understand how artificial intelligence works. They don't understand how dialogue trees, decision trees work, any of that information. So we're saying, come over here. The ovum is going to give your bot the brain that it needs. It's kind of like passing on its DNA, the genetics, to your bot. So you don't have to do any manual training to it if you're signing up on the default plan. Your bot is already going to know how to greet the customers. It's already going to know. Yeah.
Brandon, that's impossible. You know how much
Yeah.
programming you'd have to do up front to be able to have that user experience when they sign up? Obviously,
Yeah.
you do because you built it. Tell me about that, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, because on the first tiered plan, it's only selling the products in the e-commerce part of
So you have
our
your own
driver.
internal marketplace.
Right. So that's the internal marketplace is called Honeydew. So that's what we call a driver. So just imagine these drivers are like apps in an app store, right? So CoinGenius is a driver in the Aphid ecosystem. I make
Okay.
money from CoinGenius, and then I also make money from Honeydew because it just sold 3 iPads today, and I made that money from the Honeydew driver. So we train from the ovum. When you sign up, it's going to be greeting the Honeydew visitors in that ecosystem. So there's no reason for you to modify it to make it just like you, nor do we want anyone cursing at anyone selling products we're trying to get off, right? So you don't have control of that portion. But if you're on the second tier of your plan, then when people visit your profile, so if I go to Christina's profile on Aphid, you can have it say whatever you want. So you're selling real estate, or you're a plumber, or you do hair. You can go in and modify the dialogue to that portion of the ecosystem. So you'll be able to manage different bots. So on the second tier, you have 2 bots. On the first tier, you just have the default bot that we train for you. So we make it very simplistic for you to go in and plug and play. And then if you're a master, we're going to have another plan for you to have up to 10 bots working for you. You have different bots doing different things, different skill sets, to the point where you're going to be able to go into our bot store and simply hit the add-on and download the Chinese language to your bot, and it'll know Chinese instantly. This may be free. This may be charged. It just depends on the developers in our community. They're going to come up with a lot of different things in our ecosystem for the drivers. We're going to open that up to the public.
Wow, that's incredible. That means that basically you're letting your community groom your backlog. That's amazing.
That's correct.
That's so smart. That's the best advice I can give any tech entrepreneur is create a channel to your community and let them tell you what's important.
Yep, because you can create as much as you want, but until your customers tell you what's going on, you realize you really didn't know anything. They'll tell you all you need to know.
No matter how steep that learning curve is. Well,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your Honeydew roadmap. Like, how do you expand the marketplace? I'm sure you have outreach for partners and affiliates. I'm sure that you have like a speaking circuit. How do you, I mean, I'm sure you're just literally picking up the phone, calling people, but how do you even organize an approach like that? What does your roadmap look like?
Yeah, ultimately, so we have on the e-commerce is basically just through digital advertising. So just having different sales for all kind of different electronics, whatever it is that's going to be sold through that e-commerce platform of Honeydew. And then I don't ever want to put it out there, but I'm a CEO that just keeps it real. So let's just say, for instance, you have a huge brand like Coca-Cola, right? Or you have Pepsi, right? There are other products out there in the ecosystem, out there in the stores that might be a default one, right? Like you have Great Value, coffee, right? Or there are going to be people out there that may build an e-commerce platform that is even better than Honeydew, right? We're not e-commerce specialists, but we realize that this is a driver, right? So we put all of our focus to making it the best marketplace that we can, but we don't have ego to say we have the best e-commerce platform in the world. We're saying, okay, well, Shopify, if you want to come over here and get some of this volume, feel free to partake, right? So that's our approach. We're going to go as hard as we can on the digital advertising side to help drive that volume from Honeydew to you. So if Christina signs up for Aphid, we're on the internet, boom, 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 spending our advertising dollars on Honeydew to make sure that the clone of yourself is pinged so you can get a commission. That's our goal.
Brandon, I get it. I had the light bulb. You're basically aggregating, you're a marketplace that aggregates marketplaces to create the digital infrastructure so that an individual can access the affiliate programs.
Correct.
That's amazing. That is almost exactly what we're doing with CoinGenius by aggregating the 10%. We're just the database of it. We bring in, I mean, you guys know what we do, so I won't go too much into that. You guys can go to our website and check it out. But by bringing it all together and creating that digital infrastructure, that's where you can get AI. The power of blockchain is in AI interoperability. The power of blockchain is in immutable data where things can learn from it and you can draw correlations, right? I mean, that's, we can get super down the path of all of that, but tell me, I get so excited.
I love it though. I love it.
Tell me about like your plans for 2020, Brandon.
Ultimately, we want to become cultured like the Apple of the blockchain space, or we want to make impact and become truly revolutionary. It's a word that is really, really abused. We've heard it 2,000 times, but just really that feeling like when Facebook came out around 2004, 2005, and you fire it up and you just having that company that just feels like, this is it, right? We really haven't had an application really that has made us had that feeling in a very, very, very long time. Company-wise, a lot of the companies that have disrupted industries that I really, really like of the past few years, just been Airbnb, Uber, of course, Lyft. They're like Pepsi to Uber's Coke. And then you have Tesla with the electronic car. So I look at, what they're doing with they're like the robo taxis, where if you buy a Tesla, you can make $30,000 if you own a Tesla. Basically, you can add your Tesla to their fleet. And if you own it, basically it'll do ride sharing. So if I own a Tesla and you need a ride share, my Tesla will actually leave on its own autonomously and pick you up, drop you off, and I make money from it. And there's like
Brandon,
cost of it.
Yeah, we got to talk about this. Holy Moses. Okay, yeah. So this actually ties in with my next question, which is Aphid 101. How can people take advantage of this personal assistance? Let's talk about a slight example around the entire industry of, the last mile to the consumer, right? AI is gonna take over self-driving, right? But some human still has to get it the last little bit of the way. There are a million ways for you to make money on the side. If you had a clone of yourself just sitting at home, trying to make money, this Aphid bot can help you with all of those, and you can run multiple of them. So basically everyone just became an entrepreneur. Every idea that you ever had can be done. And if it can't be done and it's not already in the Aphid ecosystem, email Aphid and they are going to add it to the backlog. They just said that they will listen to you. So Brandon, tell me, how do we get, if we were to put, Aphid 101 education on CoinGenius website, what would that look like and what would that user experience be and what could they learn how to do? What does this really empower people to do now?
What this really does, it allows people to actually have time and money leverage is the biggest key. As I mentioned earlier, you can have all the time in the world, you're not making money. You can make a whole lot of money like a doctor, but you're never home. We're right in between here and saying, okay, well, maybe instead of you working 40 hours a week, you can work 20 now that your bot has made up 20 hours worth of that money. Now you can allocate some of that extra time as well to say, okay, well, I love being a painting artist, but I'm struggling right now until I get my paintings up to $5,000 a piece, right? So now you that $200, $300 that you're making per painting is going much, much further than it was before, because you were at work typically those other 20 hours. So you didn't have time to even make the paintings, right? Or by the time you get home, you're tired, right? You're super tired. And to get off work and get home at 7 o'clock and do the kids' homework and cook food, and you're pretty much, your day is pretty much gone already. It's pretty much toasted, right? You're already preparing for the next day, and then you repeat the same stupid cycle 5 days a week. If you hate your job, not everyone hates their job. People love what they do. I'm not bashing jobs ever, because people love their jobs. But if you're a slave to that money, that's not living life, right? So with Free Society, that's what we're doing here in the
Wow.
ecosystem. We're allowing this not only just the ecosystem, but the mentality, the lifestyle, the culture of Free Society is come over here, be free, let's meet up, let's discuss ideas, let's get our time back so we can actually live life, have fun, be with family, and make money.
Man, Brandon, talk to me a little bit about if everyone started doing this and you wanted to aggregate a company, if you had this at the time when you were trying to start Aphid to allow everyone to, get a lot of those manual tasks and repetitive tasks out of their way. What happens when you start collaborating these bots together?
Yes, in the future, there are things that we just haven't unveiled it yet. I don't want to be secretive. I'll give you the juice off record, but if that's okay. But there's something that we do have that's going to combine everything within the ecosystem of what you're speaking of.
I figured there was a fast forward button. I'm always
I usually give all the juice, but yeah, we got to scale it
you
up.
got to keep something for yourself. You got to keep them coming back. So awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So Brandon, we are getting to the top of the hour here. Tell me other things that people need to know about Aphid. How do they get a hold of you? How do they follow you? How do they find you? Talk to me about your channels.
Yeah, we're on Telegram. So everything is still on Telegram is Aphid BYTE. So APHID BYTE. We're on LinkedIn. So, it's linkedin.com/company/Aphid. And then we're also on Twitter, Facebook. And then we have a YouTube channel as well. And then we also have a Discord. Or Instagram as well. We're on Instagram as well. So you can follow us on those. You'll see the bug. It looks like an artificial intelligence blue bug. It's the same logo on all platforms. So go follow it. Learn about the insect too. It's really a fascinating creature, because it's not something that you hear all the time. But what an aphid is basically is they can clone themselves, and the babies are pregnant, so they can reproduce themselves without a partner, a male partner. So the woman can have a baby, and that baby is pregnant in her stomach. So if they stayed alive, they probably have about 50 something babies a week. The numbers are astronomical for how fast they reproduce in their colonies.
I had no
Very,
idea.
very interesting.
I'm like girl power right there, right? Like she's like, I don't even.
And they drive farmers crazy. Because they're on these leaves, and they suck the sap out of them, right? And they when they use the bathroom, it's this sweet kind of poop. It's called honeydew. That's why we call it a honeydew.
Oh wow.
And ants actually protect them from predators, so they can have that poop as a treat. They actually like the taste of it. So the ants they'll take the aphids and put them in there, where they go underground to keep them away from predators, just so they can have treats.
That is
Very, very fascinating.
So I'm a big fan of like Darwinian life cycles, and I see this entire industry as like a Darwinian experiment. So the aphid concept and how close that is to the AI industry is just so on point. That's beautiful. That's poetry.
Yes, it's so insane. Yeah, I couldn't make this up. It came to me.
Well done. Well done. All that meditation and that downloading, right?
That's it.
Excellent. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. This has been incredibly enlightening. I can't wait to talk offline and figure out next steps because you know I'm going to take advantage of those 10 bots. I will figure out a way. So world, watch out. And if you want to get a hold of Brandon, I highly recommend following him on LinkedIn. And you guys all know how to get a hold of me. So we will chat with you guys next time. All right. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Quick tidbit. Sorry. Yeah, so the mobile application will be out very, very soon. So you'll be able to create your digitized self, hopefully within the next 3 weeks to a month.
Oh, nice. You know what? One more plug. Are you guys in raise right now? Or if anyone wants to put money?
We are. We are looking to raise our seed round of 500,000 or more.
That's it?
Yep. That's it. Yeah, I mean, we definitely need more, but just, you know, at minimally 500,000.
All right, very good. You and I are going to talk offline, and we're going to get a lot of this data visible to the world in the CoinGenius ecosystem so they can follow along and see your progress and see why you're so investable.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, so we'll do this one more time. Thanks everyone for joining us here on Blockchain Versus with Brandon Cooper from Aphid.